plan panel layout? Do you have any rules about panel variation that you follow? An excellent question. I have an entire section in my book, How to Webcomic, where I kind of talk about this and I use a lot of pictures and stuff, but I can go ahead and pull up some of those pictures to show you guys here. So a couple of key features here. Panel sizes is a big thing. The larger your panels are, the more time your reader is going to spend looking at it. So this big ol' establishing shot, your reader's gonna look at this a lot longer than they look at something like this, where it's just like one little guy. One little guy alone in his panel, your audience is gonna skim right back over that. Sometimes that's what you want. If you want the audience to linger, bigger panel. If you want it to just be like a short, quick little moment, little panel. I generally do no more than a 3x3 grid, but I also like to mix it up. This is just a personal rule of mine. You don't have to follow this, but I personally like to have at least one full width panel in every page. That's just for me. I hit that about 95% of my cast off pages. I try to have at least one panel that is the full width. I wouldn't do more than like a 3x3 grid. My pages are tall, so I sometimes do 3x4. Yeah, so you can mix it up, mix and match. Varying panel sizes will make it look more interesting. I've seen people make comics and their pages look like this, and I don't want to be mean and say that it's bad, but it is boring to look at if all your panels are the same sizes. And like, this is better, but it's still kind of stale, you know? You can also, I personally like to use tilty pages. I like to use tilty panels for really like dramatic scenes. If it's dramatic and there's a lot of stuff happening, I do like tilty panels. You can also have your dudes pop out of the panel. So then we also talk a little bit more about panel flow. You have to think about the direction that your readers are going to be reading it in. We read English, so we read left to right, top to bottom. And so people will generally read like this, first row, and then the second row left to right, and then the third row left to right. And so you gotta kind of be conscious about how your panels flow and how your readers are going to be reading them. I'll let the book kind of speak for itself there. I have a couple more tips just on like general stuff, but this is just like some kind of general paneling things to keep in mind. Also, I will go ahead and say, I highly recommend figuring out your panels in the thumbnailing stage, where you're basically just like drawing your characters as little stick figures and experimenting with a couple of different layouts for every single page, just to kind of see what works. Panels are complicated, but I find that the more you do it, the more you kind of get a wrangle on what each scene is going to call for. Let's wrap it up with like the biggest tips here. Use varied panel sizes. Being able to use different panel sizes is one of the joys of the medium, so don't lock yourself into having like every single panel be the exact same size. Try to mix it up. Try and like make your layouts a little bit more interesting. Try to, you know, like have different sizes, different variances. Bigger panels are generally for like more important moments. Smaller panels are for the smaller, quicker moments. Mix it up. Tilty panels for more action-oriented shots. And buy my book, available at TheStarfishface.com. It's called How to Webcomic. You guys would not believe how many times I got questions about paneling. It's something that I guess scares people, but panels are fun. I like panels. I guess just like one more little tip about paneling. If you want some further research, look up storyboarding and like different storyboarding techniques for people. Study screen design specifically. Like watch some videos about screen design, watch some videos about storyboarding, because the two mediums are very closely related to each other, and a lot of times rules that apply to one will apply to the other. And being a little bit of a film nerd and learning about screen design and the different rules of screen design, absolutely enormously helpful for comics, just because, you know, it's telling a story with a visual medium. There is overlap there, and so learning about one will oftentimes help you learn more about the other. So there's one final tip for y'all.